So they're just like
Hmm.
firing all the film executives because what they were doing is they were like saying, "Hey, here's 150 million," and they're giving it to a film executive, and they like make um what was the Secret Invasion? Make Secret Invasion or make
Ooh,
She-Hulk Attorney at Law.
don't you talk about that like
And
after
like
that
they just
show.
kind of like essentially gave these guys $150 million check, and like those were the final say on whatever it was. So like they'd send it to
Hmm.
the writers would come back, say, no, we're gonna do this stuff, and then they'd send it over to start filming stuff, and it's just like all the stuff culminated in them having to essentially reshoot everything like two, three times. And it was just a
Hmm.
waste of money. So what they're doing is they're firing all these film executives and they're
Right.
hiring TV executives to come in and make TV content. Imagine that. Instead of
Oh
trying to
my
make like
God.
an 8 hour movie into like a couple episodes.
Well, like, so here's my thing with the MCU is I feel like it's not as bad as what people are saying it is. The problem is that we haven't had an Avengers movie to sort of tie everything together yet.
No,
Usually
no,
at
no,
this
no, no,
point,
no, 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 no. It's all bad writing, right?
you may speak now, sir.
Are you sure? Are you
You
sure?
may fucking speak.
All right.
Yes, yes.
Hello and welcome to the Vertical Bar Podcast. I'm your co-host, your name here, joining you from Orlando, Florida, as we dive into the latest innovations, tech trends, and just talk about the tech industry at large.
Cool. And I'm Marcus. I'm your other co-host. And together we're on a mission to explore, share, and demystify the world of technology.
From our own company, Vertical Bar Media, to the wider tech universe, we're here to dive into all things digital. But enough about us. What's on the topic list for today, Marcus?
This week in tech, we've got the Unity CEO stepping down from the company.
Yeah, so that's some good news. Maybe Microsoft can buy them like they bought Blizzard. Turn, turn it around
Well,
a little
hopefully
bit.
not. Well, hopefully, I don't even know if the gamers are really too happy about Microsoft doing that for Blizzard. But yeah, maybe during that time, we get 7 years of promised updates like Google is finally giving to the Pixel devices.
Yeah,
That was it.
that is wild. I mean, it's Google signing off on something, right?
Yes.
It just had to be the phone. Couldn't be anything else, like YouTube or something.
Who would even have their phone for that long is what I'm thinking. Like 7 years
Yeah,
is
right.
a
Like
really
that's
long
definitely not a
time.
device that's gonna last that long.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the
But it depends
Pixel
on how long it's
Pro,
in production too.
right? Yeah, that sounds like something that's a little bit too long, but I guess they really are trying to capture Pixel customers because from what I read a couple of, and this is off topic a little bit, I'm just gonna quickly say this, Pixel customers are like the most likely to switch to another brand out of all of the cell phone manufacturers, excuse me. So I read this a couple of months ago, so maybe they really need to do this in order to make sure Pixel customers stay Pixel customers. But yeah, yeah, I go on.
Well, let's dive into that actually. Without forgetting to thank our AI overlords for scripting all that mess. Let's dive in.
Yeah, all
So
that
what's
good
going on
mess.
with the Pixel update? So this is kind of interesting. The Pixel 8 is set to release here pretty soon. Or
Yeah,
is it
it was
actually
announced like
available
last
now?
week. I
Is
think
it
it's available
available yet?
now. I'm pretty sure it's
Um,
available now on the Google site. Yeah,
okay.
it's a thing now.
How much, you
Oh,
know?
so I believe okay, so the regular Pixel starts for 599 and the Pixel Pro starts at 799. I know when these phones first came out, what, 8 years ago, they were mostly mid-rangely priced, if that's a word. But I think high-end phones for the most part now start at about $1,000. So it's still under Um, if you compare like the iPhone Pro to the Pixel Pro, the Pixel Pro still undercuts it by a couple of $100. I know the regular iPhone 15 in the non-Pro line starts at $800, so you're still getting a high-end phone for a relatively mid-range price.
Yeah, and I mean it comes with a lot of product support.
Yeah, dude,
It's
7 years
it's
is a
really kind of
long ass
interesting. Like
time.
7 years for a phone just seems kind of outrageous.
It
Um,
does.
Apple would like take you out to pasture and shoot you if you used a phone that long.
Yeah. There's one company, I forgot what they're called, but they have 6 years of promised Android updates. And I know like they were the longest, and it's usually like said as some sort of a joke in the tech community. But like nobody would ever have their phone for that long, and even if they did, holy shit. But here's what I'm thinking, or here's what I'm gonna say, because there's a lot of Android manufacturers who don't update their phones at all. I know if you buy some of the off brands on Amazon, or if you have a Motorola, I know Motorola customers lately have been really pissed off that Motorola isn't giving them the promised updates that they basically sold the phone with. So I think Google is trying to recapture some of those customers and make sure people don't leave Android and go over to iOS, or I guess that's it, because there really is no other OS out there. It's just Android and iOS.
I wonder if this is a signal to other manufacturers that
Hmm.
uh, performance for phones is just plateauing.
Hmm.
We're seeing improvements in screen density, pixels. We're
Yes.
seeing improvements in battery. We're seeing some
Refresh rate.
improvements in processors.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like more powerful processors exist. It's just a matter of them being more power consuming. So
Exactly.
like battery technology has to increase further for our
Battery
processors to really
technology.
become better, faster, or stronger. Um, we see phones shipping with more and more RAM. We're also seeing phones uh with I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a dual access memory or something, where like you can use some of your storage as
Oh,
like
it's
RAM
virtual
space.
RAM. It's called virtual RAM expansion. It's basically where you can use some
Yeah,
of the internal storage, because basically it's based on flash memory. So it's fast enough to temporarily act as like additional RAM. It's not as
yeah.
fast as RAM, but it can still be used to give people like more access to RAM capability. Yeah.
Yeah. And I still think there's just such a gap between where the phone is and like
Hmm.
where a power user on a desktop needs a desktop, right? Like we just can't
Right.
outright replace the laptop or the desktop with a phone. It's
Well, it could, but it there are
I
desktop
I
modes in
posit
Android
you don't
devices.
I
Dude,
posit that you
Samsung.
can't think so. Because look at
Mm-mm.
your scenario right now. Like you're trying to do stuff in Teams and you can't
Yeah,
do it
yeah, you're
because
right.
you don't have a Windows device.
Okay, you're right. Yes,
Okay, and what
there
about
are
all the
things
things that
in
you'd want to
Teams
do
that
on Apple, but you can't do
I
on an
know.
Apple device because you don't have access to their ecosystem?
That's true. You're right. I'll give you that. I'll give you that one.
We'll combine those two as one. Okay, I'll get that.
Yeah,
I'll put that
okay,
on the
cool.
scoreboard,
Okay.
Dan,
All
please.
right, cool. Mark it off. No, but you're right. There definitely are some limitations, but I think for most people within their day aren't using Teams on their personal devices. I do know that Samsung has a great desktop mode called Samsung DeX for their Galaxy devices. Well, I'm sorry, only for their high-end devices, only for their S line. It doesn't come with their A line, their low-end or their mid-range devices. It's only for their more expensive devices like the S22 and the
Yeah,
S23 and all that
I have
stuff,
Dex on
and
my
the Fold.
S20 Ultra.
Yeah, dude. But dude, okay, so like now they have like portable monitors. They have USB-C portable monitors now. It's not really a huge thing, but like if you go to like a coffee shop, one could pull their phone out with like a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard that like folds up, right? And then they could pull out their like external portable USB-C monitor and sort of hook up like a little desktop mode type scenario in a coffee shop. It wouldn't really be it wouldn't really be as hard of a thing now. Yeah, you'd have some dongles with you, you'd have some wiring, it would look kind of awkward, but you'd actually be able to
I
get
mean,
some
for the
work
most
done.
part, that is actually completely possible and in
And not
reality,
for
actually,
gamers.
because like no,
Not for gamers though.
even with Dan's MacBook, right? I have an Apple TV at
Yeah.
the house, and he has a MacBook Pro Air or something. And dude, he can stream his PC to the TV simply, like just like that, and extend his monitor like that. And
Interesting.
like most Apple devices, like my wife can do the screen sharing and
Hmm.
like basically just mirror her phone on the TV. Like
Right. Androids can also do that. Yeah, no,
And
we
so
can do
like
that too.
extrapolate
It's a
that
little
out.
bit
If you had a
disjointed, but
like
yeah,
yeah, if you had like a little device that was like that you plugged an Apple TV into, and like you could connect that and like have that in a coffee shop kind of like that. And it's wireless. So we have the technology,
right.
but I can't figure out why we just don't have that kind of stuff yet. Like it's
Yeah.
all it's actually honestly just down to battery technology. It's just so far behind where our processing is.
Here's how I see it sort of becoming soon, hopefully. I think that everything should come from our phone and everything should be wirelessly casted to everything. I feel like our monitor at work basically needs to just be a wireless monitor, and it needs to basically have the ability to display the desktop from our phone in desktop mode. I feel like, this can be done for your TV, this can be done for your smart display, like all that stuff. I just feel like everything should be wirelessly getting its information from our phone, and like that's our central hub. And if we just can keep this one device with us and just wirelessly cast to every screen in front of us, if we choose to, as long as it's supported, obviously, that would be a really cool thing to happen. But I don't know if everything will be able to be unified, sort of like USB-C. I feel like there's all these different types of wireless casting. There's Miracast, there's Google Chromecast, there's a couple of different types, and everyone's
Even
not really
YouTube
on
has
the
its own
same.
cast feature. So like I can't
Yeah,
necessarily cast my
it's not all
Samsung
compatible.
device to the Apple TV, but if the Apple
Right.
TV is in YouTube, I can cast YouTube content from my
From
phone
there.
to it.
Gotcha.
So it's all
Good
this
old
like
Google.
piecemeal piece things, right? Like it's just a bunch of walled gardens, honestly. Going back to that.
Yeah, yeah, no, of course. And that's and again, there has been progress made with the whole USB-C thing. Now everybody in the world
Oh,
at
I
this
love
point does
USB-C.
use the same port, right? So
Yeah,
we
because
finally
Dan
got
could
that.
probably
So
talk to this. He has the MacBook and I have the USB-C charger on the couch,
mhm,
and like we
yeah.
can both just plug our laptops into it and use that USB-C charger as a full charging port, and it's literally
So
just a USB-C cable.
so would he be able to use a cell phone charger for his MacBook or no? Because
Yeah,
that wouldn't have
I
enough
I
wattage,
actually in
right?
my travel kit I carry a 65-watt charger, um,
Gotcha.
and it's just has two USB-C ports and USB-A port on it, but it can deliver
Hmm.
full 65 but with just a single USB cable. If you plug in two USB-C cables, I think it's like 30 and 30 or something.
So it has to be at least the wattage that your laptop needs. What happens if you use like a normal like 15-watt charger on a MacBook? It's
For
probably gonna fuck it
USB-C,
up,
it'll
right?
just take longer to charge.
But it won't fuck the hardware up, right?
As
Like
long as it
the
has
internal
USB-C
pieces
power
and
delivery.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
I was still under the impression sort of like a power supply for desktops that if you use something that doesn't have
No,
enough power, then it would
I
still fuck it up.
I feel like there's probably a lot of older devices at this point that have that
Hmm.
limitation. I know like there's certain like headsets you buy off Amazon that aren't USB power delivery. So if you plug that into a 65-watt charger, it's gonna like fry your headphones. But I think
Ugh,
those are
fuck
much
that
more
shit.
rare now than they have been. Because like
I gotcha.
I just had a headset here that I plugged into a 65-watt charger and it seems to be fine. But it's definitely like 3 or 4 years old. So, um, yeah, I
Well,
don't.
hopefully, yeah. That's yeah. So I didn't know that. I guess charging had become that more advanced now, and that
Yeah,
things aren't
pretty
as
much
easy to
that
fuck up. So
ubiquitous.
yeah,
I
cool.
know
That's
Anchor
good to know.
makes like a little like power brick thing, and it actually
Yeah.
has like standard AC 120 sockets on it. But it has a bunch of
God
USB ports in
damn.
the front and USB-C ports, and they are fast charging. I got those all around the house, in the bedroom, on the couch. I have one here at my desk.
That's a
It's
really good
simple.
brand. I know during COVID, I bought a bunch of Anchor stuff. Like I bought all their outlets, all their battery packs, stuff like that. I was gonna buy their earbuds, but I didn't get around to it. But yeah,
Uh,
they've been doing well. They make a lot of high quality products.
Yeah, except for their whole
Don't.
Yuffie controversy, but I'm not going to cover that topic
I
today.
was gonna
We're
say
actually going to
I
look
never heard
at.
about that.
Oh yeah, so I'll just briefly touch on it. And
Okay, briefly.
right. So one of their sub companies, Eufy, had a bunch of wireless cameras, cloud
Hmm.
accessible cameras, and
Oh
they
Lord,
were
this sounds bad.
literally just like accessible, like to anybody that had the number that they could access.
Oh
Like no
no.
security, no like two-factor authentication, no like username and password. It's like you type the
Oh,
link into
that's
Google
horrible.
search bar and like you got somebody's camera kind of stuff. So
Oh
that was
my
really bad.
God,
They were
that's
selling millions of
horrible.
units, and it's bad that they
Millions.
it's bad that they had this security vulnerability, but usually what's worse is how they
Right.
react to it, right? First they just
Exactly.
say, "Oh, it's not a
Right.
problem. Oh, sweep it under the rug," and like, "Hey, like everybody else is doing this, like passing the blame." Like you just
Let's
know that
do
it's not a
it.
good company. Like they don't care. But still, I buy their chargers. I have a bunch of Anchor
Yeah.
stuff. It's
I've
good
never even
quality
heard of
product,
Eufy, but
but like, hey, if you're gonna buy security cameras from a company called Eufy, like, nah.
yeah. That's clearly sort of off-brand, cheapish third-party sort of type thing. But yeah, Anchor's awesome though. But yeah, Eufy,
Yeah.
that's a no-go. I'll make sure to remember that in case I ever want to buy security cameras. I remember during COVID, dude, and again, briefly, I bought these Wise cameras, which were only like $20, and like they were pretty cool for $20. I don't know how they're doing now, but I'll make sure to
Yeah.
not do UV. Oh, so speaking of how people respond, let's go with Unity's CEO stepping down. I know you're happy about this. Don't get
Yeah.
too excited, but you know,
I'm not
you
terribly
gotta know.
involved in the community, but I have heard some of the community is happy about this. I don't necessarily know. I mean, ultimately, that's where direction for in a company comes from the CEO.
Hmm. Right.
So that's where it comes from. Like he's the one that ultimately is responsible for the decisions for the direction of that company. The shareholders obviously didn't like that and
Right.
kicked him out because
Yeah.
he's definitely retiring and he's definitely like not working there anymore.
Did he
Um,
want to get fired, do you think? Do you think maybe he wanted to get fired and he just did this as a way to get out? I'm like half
I
joking, but
I
then
couldn't
these people
speculate
are
on that
also
at all.
really
Like
rich and they do
he,
dumb shit. So,
well, yeah. I mean, ultimately, like for it's really weird for companies, right? Like CEOs just kind of come and go, it seems, and it's
right.
really
And
interesting because
run.
there's the CEO that takes a business from like nothing to $1 million, right? Then there's the
Right.
CEO that takes that business from that $1 million to a $10 million company, and then there's another type of CEO that takes that kind of $10 million company and turns it into a $100 million company, and like it keeps on going up, and there's just different levels of CEOs, and obviously
Hmm.
the CEO is out of his breath. He was
Yeah.
out of his zone. Um, yeah,
Yeah, he was.
that's
It's
ultimately what it
almost
comes
like
down
yeah,
to. Like
it's
his direction
interesting.
led to the company probably losing a lot of money in the long run. Because like not only did this change the pricing structure for a lot of people, and like they want
Yeah.
to change products because of the pricing structure, but what it actually did was it unilaterally changed the conversation about how Unity treats its developers. Originally,
As if
it
they're
was like, hey,
throwaways.
we're supporting you, we're doing all this cool stuff for you. This is how it works, right? And then they're like, well, the deal's changing now. And
Mm.
like not taking into account like where the industry is or maybe doing their own analysis, but ultimately just like not and it really down to its core, it was just to shake all the free users. But I think in shaking all the
That's
free
the big thing
users,
now.
well, yeah, I mean, because that's exactly what you do. You build an audience, you monetize it.
Right.
Hey, thanks for watching, like and subscribe. And
Right.
then you monetize that
YouTube, and then you
audience,
make a
right? And like,
premium.
and well, a lot of companies will end up alienating all of their premium users from their free users by giving them way higher quality stuff, and then just shaking out the free users eventually. Um, which kind of sucks because like there needs to be free content out there um
Right.
accessible. That's why YouTube's so popular.
I
But
know.
YouTube, they can't beat YouTube because it's just so ingrained at this point. It's like
Yeah,
trying to
it
topple
is.
Google.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I feel like
But you know what's
watching
trying to
YouTube.
topple Google?
What?
Microsoft.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes,
And they're doing it
Microsoft.
in a crazy way because they're buying Blizzard like the year
So Google had
after.
Stadia and Stadia got fucked. Now
Yeah,
Microsoft
like the
is
year
moving ahead with
after,
gaming.
and like, dude, Stadia could have been so good. Like, it's all about cloud gaming now. Like, that's
Yeah,
where
cloud
everybody's
gaming is
going.
blowing the fuck up, dude. It really
Eh,
is.
And the Google drops out of that for what? But I mean, honestly, I don't think they could compete with Microsoft. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy now what Microsoft actually has purview over. But have you seen the trailer that they released?
For what? For this acquisition or for a specific game? And the answer is probably
I
no
guess,
still.
yeah, probably still, right? Because you're not, because you don't know what I'm talking about. They released a new
I
trailer
don't.
yesterday that was just like all of the IP that they just bought plus their own
Oh shit.
IP, and it's literally just like a Pixel Gore trailer. Uh, so and it kind of teases a lot of stuff. People are gonna dig into it eventually, but it's like
Hmm.
it's showing Crash Bandicoot in Minecraft and like the Master Chief talking with Call of Duty soldiers. Like,
Cool.
yeah, this is pretty epic. You should definitely check it out. But it was exploring all the IP that they bought, so it includes Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Warcraft, StarCraft, like Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Overwatch. They even had a bunch of Diablo content in there. So you know
Hmm.
they've already put Diablo on Steam, which I think was an act of good faith for the purchase. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, they know that they're getting purchased. Blizzard and Activision are like, okay, well, let's put these games on Steam and let's start opening up the doors. And it's pretty awesome, honestly. I'm pretty excited about it. Hopefully,
Dude,
some of these developers will return back to form. What do you think?
no, it's interesting because like I remember during COVID when I was getting back into PC gaming, I was always annoyed that I couldn't get everything on Steam. Like I think I had to buy a couple of games on some of the other. I remember I had to make a Blizzard account and I had to make another account too, I think for Fortnite. But there was a couple of games like Kingdom Hearts that I couldn't get on Steam. I think it was I don't know why I want to say I bought Kingdom Hearts.
PlayStation.
No, it wasn't that. No, I had to make another. I don't know why. I don't think Blizzard has anything to do with Kingdom Hearts, which I know that, but I don't know why I feel like that's what I do. Anyways, I couldn't get it on Steam and it was pissing me off. So I'm glad that more games are showing up on there, and I'm glad that there is a partnership between it's Valve, right? Oh, that's the own team.
No, it's Valve, like Eternal
Valve.
Valve.
Okay, my bad. My bad. It's dude, my friend was making fun of me because he listened to our like first episode or our second one, and he said that it's malware, not malware. So apparently I have a
It's
habit of
okay. You just
mispronouncing
have a learning
stuff wrong.
disability.
Yeah, no, and not only that, but like a lot of this stuff, like I've never been able to talk about it out loud with other people. So it's just like this is my first
Yeah,
time.
so that is
Mostly
really interesting.
yeah, it's like some of the stuff I've never actually heard out loud. I've only discussed it like in online communities on like message boards and fucking Reddit and shit. But yeah, no, I do like that Steam is integrated in the gamer community, and I like that that there's a lot more sharing going on between these major corporations than there used to be. Everyone, I guess, tries to do their like Apple and Netflix thing where they try to do their own thing and isolate and have their walled garden products. And it's cool to offer that, but I also like when there's access and availability for the stuff. So do you know how like Blizzard customers feel about this? I'm only asking
Well,
because
I can, yeah. So from my general viewpoint, I think everyone's happy about this. I think Microsoft's happy about
I'm
this.
happy about
I
it.
think everybody in Activision Blizzard is happy about this, except maybe Bobby Kotick, but whatever. I mean, he's getting paid. I bet
Fuck
he's
'em.
happy too. Like he's just out of the game now, which there's so much to talk about. Anyway, never mind. It's
Next time.
yeah, yeah. Next time on Vertical Bar Podcast. Now, I think yeah, the general sentiment into it is generally good
Okay,
because
good,
of Activision Blizzard's history, right? Like
good.
Generally speaking, I think Microsoft wants more people to play video games. That's it.
Yes, and they have
Right?
the
That's
tools to get
like
it
bottom
done,
line. Like I don't think they
which is awesome.
care if they sell Xboxes. I think they just want
Right.
more people to play video games.
Yeah,
And
because video games
I
are fucking
think
awesome.
that I hope that they can just like shoot, I I kind of see what they do in a lot of other senses, but they kind of like
Hmm.
build this incubator, right? Like to
Hmm.
let these companies kind of return to their roots and just like
Okay.
not necessarily give them unlimited funding, but like show them like, hey, look, we literally have a bucket of money here. If you can just do something good with it, like
Right.
there's a bucket of money right there. Right?
Because didn't that happen with
Instead of like, hey, look,
Minecraft?
we need to build a bigger bucket of money, right? Like the bucket needs to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Hmm.
And like it doesn't matter, who we alienate in our base and like who we lock out of gaming, like who isn't able to access our games and stuff like this. Like I think that's yeah, that kind of exclusivity that makes gaming harder to obtain
Yeah,
isn't doing the industry any good.
it's not right. Yeah. And it's interesting because like cloud gaming, and I know this is a little bit off topic, but like I remember GeForce Now was like $15 a month a couple of months ago. Now it's at 20, and I think it's about to go up again. So cloud gaming is becoming popular. Prices are about to go up. I remember when Microsoft bought out Minecraft, and that seems to be doing well now. I don't think any of the
Oh,
people that,
dude, nothing is doing as good as Minecraft. Well, okay, probably all the
yeah,
stuff
so
that
like
they
they
just bought
clearly
from
know what they're
Blizzard because
doing.
like Candy Crush, right? But now Candy Crush is gonna be in Minecraft. So like,
What?
yeah.
Oh shit, I just saw that Candy Crush is on the list of properties that they're
Oh
actually
yeah. Yeah,
acquiring.
because
Okay, cool. My
that's why
little
they
bard
call it
list.
Activision Blizzard King, right? But King is all the mobile gaming stuff that they have. So like all the
Gotcha.
Candy Crush sagas, all the sagas, there's just like a billion sagas.
Hell yeah, dude. And I know, yeah, and Microsoft already has Xbox, and now they have Xbox PC Pass, and I think X Cloud Gaming is their cloud-based service. And
No,
from
it's
what
called
I,
Game Pass, bro.
oh wait, because isn't X Cloud Gaming, isn't that included in X Pass now? So you have to get the highest tier, right, in order to do the X Cloud, or were you
I
making a
don't
joke?
I don't know much
I'm
about
sorry.
it, but Game Pass is like their
Okay, cool.
service,
Because you
right?
have a
And like it
graphics
has
card.
different tiers. I
Cool,
can
awesome.
probably look that up on the internet on the computer that I'm using.
I
Huh?
know it's like we get so much into talking, we forgot that we have internet access. No, it's okay. So yeah, so I just wanted to state how like Microsoft is planning on launching a mobile gaming app store. So apparently Apple is being
X
forced to
Cloud
side.
Gaming.
There you go. That see, I knew I had it right. God damn it.
Yeah, it's in beta
Yeah,
right now. Looks like
yes, it is.
if you have
It's been
the
in beta for like a year now. Yeah, but it's
wow.
pretty popular.
Dude,
It's pretty popular.
yeah, it's kind of funny because on the website it says play Xbox console games on the devices you already have. So
Yes.
yeah, enjoy console games you love on the devices you already have. You can play
Hmm.
Xbox on a wireless game controller, a Sony
Reboot.
DualShock 4 or more. Hmm, that's cool.
The only problem, because I actually tested this out on my Chromebook, you cannot use a keyboard and mouse with that yet, which is
Yeah, it
why
says you have
it's in
to do
beta.
controllers.
Yeah, it's controller only,
Yeah, well, it
which
is a
is crazy
beta.
because
And ultimately, like, hey, doing keyboard and mouse gaming is really hard.
wait,
But
you said do keyboard. Wait, what did you say? You said keyboard and
yeah,
mouse
like
gaming is hard.
having crossplay between keyboard and mouse users and Xbox is like
Oh yeah, because
in
PC
just
users are
inviting
keyboard and mouse users are
inviting
always good.
murder.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they're going to add keyboard and mouse support whenever
Oh
they
yeah, of
go from beta to
course.
official. But like, there's a lot of games that I'm used to playing on PC. Like I like the Avengers game, and like when I tried to play that on my Chromebook, it made me want to use a controller. And then I downloaded this extension that allows you to use your keyboard and mouse through the browser, but it didn't work out that well. So I wasted my $15. But it's okay because I'll have a Windows PC soon, so I'll be good. But yeah, no, I'm excited that they're expanding this service, and I know you don't too much trust cloud gaming, but it's farther
No,
along than
actually,
you
I really
think.
like cloud gaming
Okay.
as a concept, and I would like yeah, I think it's cool, but it's really there just needs to be so much more like interconnectivity between stuff. Because like obviously I have an Apple TV, I'm not going to be able to do cloud gaming on that. um I'd like to, but then like how could I do my
You
old school
dick.
TV that doesn't have apps? Like how
hmm
can I connect that to my phone? Like there's still like a layer that's kind of missing, like an
Yeah.
ubiquity between like hardware, software.
I think it is cool sort of being able to hop on a friend's computer and being able to like load up the web browser and just play a game. Like that's cool because your friend may not
Yeah.
even have a graphics card in their computer. And like if you're over there staying the night, yeah, you could bring your own fucking like computer because you're an adult, but like other people may not have that. So you have to think from other people's perspective and their lives. And like you could be able to game like at your friend's house, even though they don't have a gaming computer. So like that part to me is cool, and I think that's awesome. But it will get better. I know Google and Nvidia have a partnership that's been announced ever since there was that Google Cloud Tech Conference, and apparently like I know cloud gaming for Nvidia is about to pop off. So I don't know why I said pop off. I don't talk like that, but it's about to get really good.
It's about to get real,
About
dog.
to get really fucking awesome. There you go. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm excited. I want to be able to play my
me
games
too.
everywhere, and I want to be able to access
Everywhere,
the like,
everywhere on any device,
right?
everywhere on any device. I like being able to,
Like
I like bringing my stuff,
one of the
but
things I hate about the new Zelda game is that I can't play it. Like I have a
I
Switch, right?
know.
I'm not going to carry a Switch around with me everywhere. I have a Steam Deck
Mhm.
there, my phone that I already need to carry. Like why can't I play that game on my phone?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be it would be awesome. That's why I really believe that everything should just be wirelessly casted, and I don't really think that like I don't know, man. I think that hardware is changing, but enough of that. Yeah, no, let's wait, why can't you play Zelda on your Switch? Oh, because you don't want to play it on your Switch. Why can't you just get up to the computer or the TV? Excuse me. I'm blanking out right now. It's late and I'm tired. Why can't you just hook it up to your TV and then play it that way?
I
You don't want to?
actually I hadn't thought about that, hooking up the Switch. I mean it's over there by the TV. We just don't
Uh-huh.
like I got it for my wife to do like a workout game, but she didn't
Take it
end up not
back.
liking
Damn it.
it. It's been years. So I'm just waiting till my kid's old enough to play it.
Do you have
But
Super
actually that
Smash
makes sense. Like I
Brothers?
can get a little controller and I can play some games with him on the TV like that. I'm gonna try that out.
Yeah, you should, dude. It's fucking awesome. I love playing Super Smash Brothers on a big TV. That's one of my favorite games, and I haven't had it for the last year, and it's been killing me. But I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna get it. I can't wait. By the
Oh man.
way, Zelda and Sheik are the best characters ever. So if
Yes,
it,
right?
if we ever play one day, that's what I'll be using, and I'll definitely win for sure.
Oh, but I'll play you in uh what was the other game? Mario Kart. I'll wreck you in some Mario
Dude,
Kart.
I always suck at Mario Kart. I can't even get my fucking characters to start off at the right time. I always start off later than everybody else. So yeah, yeah. So I guess enough about those topics. Hey, we didn't really talk about the Unity CEO. Was there anything else we needed to know about that situation? Like, who's? It seems like the person taking over is Mark Witten. Do you like him? Is he cool,
I
or
don't
is he
really know
some
much
dick?
about him.
He's probably just another old guy that's gonna use old shit for the company, but hopefully not. Hopefully he
Well,
listens.
no, I believe that Mark Witten's the interim CEO, which means like while they're looking for a replacement, he's acting
I
as
watched
CEO.
Succession. I know what interim is. Interim. I watch HBO. I'm good. Cool.
Yeah, so I mean I'll have to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I read that he was going to be intern. So as far as their pricing policy, I don't think they've walked back some of the stuff. I think they're taking in community feedback, but in kind of relation to this, Unreal announced that they were doing some price changes. They definitely went in a different direction. They started with kind of outlining what they wanted to do and then
Okay.
accepting community feedback before they actually
Cool.
implemented the process.
Good.
So
Right
great job,
thing.
Epic, for learning a lesson.
There you
But
go.
it is kind of
Nice.
interesting in how Unreal Engine is used for generation on like movie sets and stuff. Like a lot of movies are
I
made
didn't know that.
with, and they might not necessarily apply to their current revenue policies. And they might have just, it kind of sucks that, Epic Games just kind of forgot to charge Disney to make their movies, like, hey, all
That's
these
weird.
Cars movies that you guys made in Unreal
How does that work?
Engine. Whoops.
How the hell does that work?
Yeah. Which is actually kind of interesting. I read an article recently that Bob Igor came back to Disney, right?
Hmm.
He's stepped back into the CEO position now for like a year or two, and he says that
Yeah.
there's internal conversations. He's saying that it's just upside down.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that he did come back because didn't he step down right before COVID? And then I guess because the MCU hasn't been doing that well financially at the box office, I think that he came back to sort of fix some of the issues. And then like now he has the writer's strike shit to
Well,
like
hey, I
sort of.
actually got a secret topic to throw in here.
Oh,
So
nice. That's good
I,
because we
I
definitely already finished. So that's
yeah,
good.
so Dan actually sent me an article
Let's do that.
earlier about the all the executives over at Disney are pretty much getting canned now. This kind of goes back to Bob Igor's statements on, not
Hmm.
necessarily statements, but inferences on essentially that the company's upside down. And it kind of all makes sense because essentially what they've been doing is they've been making these films, right? These films have been just
Hmm.
blockbusters. Bam, bam. Thank you, ma'am. And
You're welcome.
like they thought that they could
It
just
wasn't executive. It was the writers and the directors of Daredevil TV show.
well, that's a specific
Oh
example
yeah,
of
I
it.
heard
Yeah.
about
So
that.
yeah,
They
they
like
pretty much just like threw that away and like they're starting over again.
yeah,
For the Daredevil. But the
that
article that I was
season, like
reading was
18
that
episodes.
all the film executives, so they were just like
Hmm.
firing all the film executives because what they were doing is they were like saying, "Hey, here's 150 million," and they're giving it to a film executive, and they like make um what was the Secret Invasion? Make Secret Invasion or make
Ooh,
She-Hulk Attorney at Law.
don't you talk about that like
And
after
like
that
they just
show.
kind of like essentially gave these guys $150 million check, and like those were the final say on whatever it was. So like they'd send it to
Hmm.
the writers would come back, say, no, we're gonna do this stuff, and then they'd send it over to start filming stuff, and it's just like all the stuff culminated in them having to essentially reshoot everything like two, three times. And it was just a
Hmm.
waste of money. So what they're doing is they're firing all these film executives and they're
Right.
hiring TV executives to come in and make TV content. Imagine that. Instead of
Oh
trying to
my
make like
God.
an 8 hour movie into like a couple episodes.
Well, like, so here's my thing with the MCU is I feel like it's not as bad as what people are saying it is. The problem is that we haven't had an Avengers movie to sort of tie everything together yet.
No,
Usually
no,
at
no,
this
no, no,
point,
no, 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 no. It's all it's all bad writing, right? Look,
really?
yeah.
What
Pacing,
about the
bad
movies? Are the
stuff and
movies bad
stuff.
too, or is it just the
No,
TV
no, 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 no,
shows?
no. Look, like, look at how like content from TV came before, right? Like, I mean, even into like how soap operas are filmed. Not even
I mean, you got Agents
necessarily
of
like
Shield.
something that you like. I love Law and Order, right? Law and Order is like very episodic. They're kind of
Right.
like individuals, but there's little story threads that you can kind of pick up in and out of the seasons, right? More more modern stuff like NCIS, like some of that stuff is kind of overt, but it's still kind of subtle. Like it doesn't you don't have to tell the user the every single viewer that this and this, like let the viewer find out stuff for themselves. And I feel like that's where Marvel has just gone off the rails. Like they just want to tell you everything about everything, dialogue, exposition. Like you need to understand how they feel. Like you can't make any inferences from your own. and from the content that really
Are people smart
subtracts
enough to
like
do that?
how much. Yeah, I mean, hey, you and me kind of represent the 50% line, right? Like there has to be at least 50% smarter and 50% dumber than us, like just generally statistically speaking.
I just feel like whenever superhero stuff gets a little bit too smart, like people reject it. Sort of like Man of Steel or like BVS. Like those were really deep, like very emotional films with a lot of interpretation, and like people rejected those. So I don't know. I
Yeah,
just
I
feel
mean
like
that's the other end of the spectrum, right? And like there is a good middle ground. And like kind of some of the elements that's kind of some of the interesting core fundamental differences between episodic content and just like
right.
movie length content, right? Like feature
Hmm.
length content, right? When you go to a movie, like you're getting an experience with it, right? When you're watching content, it's kind of like when you're watching TV, it's kind of like it's a little bit different. Like
Right.
there's gaps between when you watch it, like if you binge it, it's a little bit different, right? Like
Hmm.
binging it's one way, but usually be, the content that you binge is properly paced. Like one episode ends and it goes to a different place, right? On the next
Right.
episode, and it starts in a different location and it goes different ways. In movies, if you have that kind of stuff, it breaks the immersion in it, right? Like, hey, look, we're all on Krypton now. Hey, we're all back on Earth. That was a nice trip back, right? Like that kind of breaks the immersion of it. You
Hmm.
can have like that traveling sequence and that stuff, but in TV, that's all unnecessary. Like you don't need that in TV. It can just cut back and forth between places a lot better. And scenarios, and like they just don't use that enough. Like all the Disney Star Wars content was still filmed on Tatooine.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
All
Where
the
did that
all the
come
Star
from?
Wars content was filmed on Tatooine. It was all filmed at like Mos Eisley, essentially. Like the Book of Boba Fett, the
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Mandalorian. Yeah.
Thought you meant they literally went there and filmed the show. I'm like, wait, what?
Well, no,
Not a real
Disney
place.
Disney made
Okay,
Tatooine. Like they have a Tatooine
okay,
somewhere. It's
gotcha.
probably on the
Somewhere it
moon.
exists. Somewhere, yeah. No, that's cool. No, I don't know. Like when I watch the TV shows for Marvel, I don't see them being bad. I just don't see a payoff yet. I just feel like there's a lot of origin stories that have been happening. See, like Miss Marvel was received really well, and like Moon Knight was received really well. So like,
Not by
what
me.
did
By who?
Yeah.
dude?
Where's your source?
Captain Miss Marvel has like a 90 something percent on Rotten Tomatoes.
Is that the critic score or the audience score?
It's the critic score. Actually, that's a good question because I actually need to go check this before I sort of go into it because you are
Before you
right. I
start
should.
spouting off,
Yeah, no, of course. Okay, so I'm gonna do voice recognition, so don't laugh at me. I'm not old. Miss Marvel, Rotten Tip. God damn it, it picked up all that shit I said about not being old. Okay, now I sound old. Okay, never mind. Okay, let me see. I'm on my tablet, so I don't have a fucking computer right now. Fuck. Um,
we're supposed to have a producer to do this for us.
it's okay.
He's watching
Um,
football. So it's a
what
98
the
for
f-
critics and
Thank you.
an 80%
Thank you, new
for
producer.
audience.
You said what?
Said 98 and 80.
See, that's not bad. So Miss Marvel was pretty much liked. 98. I didn't know it was that high, god damn it. So all right, so that one was liked. Loki was liked. Um, like Captain, like here's my thing. I feel like just because like Secret Wars was bad, now everyone's saying all the shows are bad. Like that was just a one-time
I've been
thing where
saying
I
that all along. Don't even.
really okay, all right. Because it seems like when people start hating on something, like everybody starts doing it all of a sudden. And I remember when the individual shows like Hawkeye was well received. The Falcon Hawkeye was well received. People
Well,
like that show.
yeah, the first 6 episodes and then the ending sucked.
It's only 6 episodes. I think, because I just recently watched it. It's got a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes for critics, and the audience score is loading, sorry, is 88. See? People like the Marvel TV shows. It's really just like one or two projects that went bad, and now I feel like people are just saying, well, it was a complete train wreck. But like they've
Well,
been
okay, so
releasing
that's
TV
not
shows for 3
necessarily
years now.
so. Okay, I'm not saying it's a train wreck, but that's not
Hmm.
necessarily what people are saying about it. First of all, it's mostly about Marvel fatigue, right?
Right. Because
Like,
there's no Avengers yet. You have to wait
yeah,
for Avengers to title. Okay, so usually, okay, so in phase one, two, and three, there were always Avengers movies every couple of years to tie everything together. But in these past two phases, in phase four and five, there has been so much content that's come out. We've had TV shows and movies. Before we didn't have TV shows at all. I mean, you had
yeah,
Agents of Shield, but like that didn't really count. And then the Netflix shows weren't canon anyways anymore, which I'm mad about that. But yeah, like there's just been too many seeds planted and we haven't gotten the payoff yet. So I think that people are rushing to this idea that we need to be judging the entire thing so far, like judging it as if it's over, but really we need to wait for Secret Wars and King Dynasty to come out. Like that's gonna be how it
okay.
all like that's when we judge it. We don't judge it before then because it's not complete yet. That's just how I feel.
Well, it's never going to be complete. I think
But this
part of the
this
struggle for
arc
me is
isn't
that it just
complete.
requires you to have so much knowledge about the MCU overall that, like, it's kind of some of video games problem too. Like, you just push out the casual users and you're just focusing on the hardcore users.
No, the
Yeah.
casual users still get supported because I watched Love and Thunder and that was clearly made to be like funny, sort of like Ragnarok, but like it was also made to make sure that the new people still enjoy the film. I think that's why they have a lot of humor in the film and the TV shows still is because I don't think the diehard fans are really like laughing at these shows or films anymore, but the new people are. And like they're all very family friendly still. Um, so I don't think necessarily they're doing that. I just think that like phase four is literally the first phase ever in the MCU without an Avengers film. Like, like so to me that points to that being the problem. Like we haven't seen the teams yet, and it really is a story about a team coming together. So I don't know. I'm not seeing the problem yet. I do think people are sort of hyping on the Marvel hate train just because it got popular and people just kind of want to. I don't know. I see a trend,
Hey,
but I could be
don't let
wrong.
me in with those people. I'm accounting it to just poor writing,
Okay.
and poor creative direction.
And we also lost the Russo brothers. Let's also
Because
not forget that.
yeah, and like there's just not no showrunners, right? Like there's just they're trying to give new actors, new directors, new
Mhm.
producers, and like I think there's a well-established industry that's just being neglected that could make really meaningful content, but Disney has all the rights and won't let anybody else make the content.
Disney deserves rights to Marvel. They got Marvel up and running, dude. It was a,
Yeah, it
I don't
wasn't.
think they
I
should
mean,
give those rights
the whole
back.
comic book scene was a shit show before Marvel came
Yeah, it was
along.
horrible. We had Catwoman with Halle Berry, who was an amazing Storm, by the way, but she was a horrible Catwoman, right? And then we also had like those Fantastic Four movies. I know Catwoman is not Marvel, that's DC, but I'm just saying, like, before we really only had the X-Men and the Spider-Man films, but like everything else sucked. I mean, those Punisher films were horrible. There were some other films also that were fucking terrible, but I think Marvel's doing well. And also, we still have X-Men and Fantastic Four in the MCU to also count as sort of like an Avengers experience. So I think as more team up movies come along, then people will understand the story more and what it's been building up to because there's a lot of reveals yet that that we really haven't seen. And I think it's just a little bit too early to write off the MCU as being maybe a good or in a good or a bad place right now because it's just the story isn't done yet. So I'm repeating myself, so I'm gonna shut up now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but hey,
I
I
mean, no,
will
that's a
tell
good
our
take
viewers
on it. I
one
mean,
thing.
I agree with that. Like, it's, but honestly, it's never going to be done. I mean, the story of the
You're right.
Avengers,
You're right.
like, how many comic book source material do we have?
Oh, it's gonna get really weird. That's one thing I think people aren't
Oh,
ready for. Comic
it's
books
already
get
really weird with the
weird.
multiverse, like the things that they can do with the multiverse. Oh
Yeah.
man, it's gonna get really
It's like
weird.
anything could happen at any point now, and you just have to be okay with it because that's honestly how comic books are. Like, in order to
Yeah, it's
defeat the
like
enemy, they have to get really, really
something
weird.
that happened in like a series one comic, like can just be completely undone later. It's like, oh yeah, this was because
Exactly.
something
Like
else. It's like,
in
oh
an
wow,
instant.
fuck,
Exactly.
that's
And
crazy.
that's how they were written. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know if people are really ready for how like extensive some of these stories get and how far it kind of gets into it. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about this in a later episode. I know we kind of scratched the surface of it, but that might be all the time we have, folks.
Yeah, I think that is all the time we have for today on the Vertical Bar podcast. As always, it's been
On
a
the
blast exploring technology with all of you.
Indeed it has, Jared. Indeed it has. And now I am still swiping over to the outro. So I am currently behind, but it's been a pleasure. And let's redo that. Sorry. 'Cause I'm still swiping.
Would you like me to read your lines for you, Marcus?
Yeah, that would be really awesome. Hey, so guess what? Indeed it has, Jared. And remember, folks, if you need to learn more about the topics we've discussed, check out the description with links on our social media profiles. We're on all of them right now, right? Don't
Oh
forget
yeah.
to like and subscribe to the podcast for more tech adventures. And remember, we are called Vertical Bar Media.
Absolutely, Marcus. We'd love to hear from you. Reach out with your questions, ideas, or just to say hi. We're on all social media platforms as Vertical Bar Media.
That's good to know. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and remember the only constant in technology is change.